This is the Caffeinated Risk Summer Show with your hosts, Tim McCreate and Doug Leese.
AI is going to write my next perfect pretext. I'm not believing that. But a human breaking into the mailbox can figure out a compelling pretext and steal money from the company.
Yep.
So I'm not as worried about AI as an attack surface versus AI write me a test harness to go hit 50 clients.
Yeah.
And one of them's going to bite, and you just watch who enables. You know, I'm sure they've got the equivalent of call centers. They're just waiting for the next person to lose a token, and they get in their mail, and the minute they're on is like, great, give me the briefing of what this company is, and off they go.
Yeah. I'm not as involved in the coding aspect of it. For me, it's different. You know, you talked about image creation, or can I find support materials to help out with presentations? Or for me, I look at it, can I do some additional research on, some of the work I'm doing? It is fast. It is far easier than me hunting around, Google search looking for images. But when you create that extra finger, or you can't spell the company name, like I don't know how many times I've had to explain to it. No, Tailcraft is TALE, not T. And security is SECURITY, not two T's, not three Y's. Like it is. And I actually have done this. I've attached the image that's been provided to me by the engine. Said, please review this image and provide the appropriate spelling. And it came back with even worse spelling. I'm like, oh, mother of God, this is just like, I'm now dealing with a 5-year-old. So I'm like, you know what? I got this. I'll go play in Canva and I'll build my own damn image. and I get that there are parameters. I get that there's limitations, but I think you nailed it. There's an element of speed and efficiency of time, not necessarily of all resources, but of time. Larger volumes of work effort can be done in a faster period of time. But the human, I think, still has to be at the end of that equation to make sure that the data, the information, the diagram, the code is still fit for purpose. It's still going to work. To your point earlier, Doug, I'm not going down some rabbit hole that I'm like, Jesus, what the hell are you doing with this? Like, this isn't what I asked you to do. So we will always, I think, have to provide that check and balance to it. Because if we don't, what I'm afraid we're going to run the risk of is, and now I'm generating, tweets for President of the United States. I'm just saying, right? That's the fear, right? So.
All right. Well, let's finish off with something fun or more fun.
More fun. Yeah.
More fun than AI sucks. No, it doesn't suck. It's got its place.
It has its place. Yep.
I think blind faith is a good band, but not probably a great approach to running your business.
Yeah. Agreed.
You and I are both ISC OG.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually ahead of me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's frightening.
You have a 4-digit number, right?
No, I have a 5, but it's in the early 2s. Like it is. Yeah, and we were still doing it on paper, and there was 84 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember writing it in Montreal. That's a long time ago. So.
Yeah, I had to fly to Vancouver to do mine.
Yeah.
And you had to wait, 2 months to even find out if you passed?
And you got it in the mail. Like, yeah, actually sent it to you in the mail. I'm like, serious? Like, all right. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how far we go back, boys and girls.
Yeah.
To ISC Squared. I still have a lot of faith in that organization. They're probably one of the first. And because it's now the summer show, we like to do everything backwards and weird. So we're going to do our predictions for 2025, just like training an AI model. So let's go find some other predictions and see how they did.
Yeah.
And we'll use that to infer ours for the next 3 months or 4 months that are left.
Yeah.
So we went to the ISC Squared top 5 predictions for 2025. And again, zero disrespect for the organization or the people doing the work. It is really hard to predict the future. If we could, we would be on a beach somewhere.
Yes.
We wouldn't be doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, we might, but probably not. Probably just be on the So number 1 was AI starts giving security teams the upper hand. And I think you and I both agreed that it can speed up the work, but it doesn't replace a security analyst in the mix.
Exactly. I mean, what it may do is it may be able to find, or if you give it the right profile, it may be able to find false positives far faster. Absolutely. Or it may be able to ingest more data far quickly. Absolutely. But I think And don't get me wrong, it's going to continue to get better over time because, like any LLM, your security tools, when they start patching into the AI engines, they're going to start learning and understanding more. Where it's going to start running the risk of is if it starts comparing what it saw in advance of an event and then use it again 6 months later. If you've put controls in place, then now you're going to potentially get alerted on something that you've already got a control in place to block. That would be interesting to see if that timeline works in the next year or so.
You mean like if you had a detection engineering practice, you could understand when you put in controls?
There you go.
Just like saying, hey, can you do it and spell it this way?
Yeah.
Hey, can you now consider the threat with this new control?
Yeah.
But then, of course, you'd have to have your controls inventoried.
Well, that's okay. So that's the downside of all this. I still got to be able to manage my controls, right? So yeah.
So we're going down the sadness path again. So we're going to get back.
All right. So.
All right. Security vendors and threat actors will experiment with AI agents. Well, yeah, I think that's legit. I think everybody's experimenting with them, but, draw a circle around experiment. I don't think anybody's going to say, yeah, I trust this.
Yeah, agreed. No, I agree with you. Absolutely. Yeah, I would be afraid if that happened, right? To be honest with you, I would be really afraid.
As much as I'd like to give vendors a hard time, there's a joke I often use: a hardware eventually fails and software eventually works. And people laugh that when the first time they hear it, and then they reflect and they get sad and they go, he's right. And security tools are just software at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to get it wrong a lot. And so doing that at scale, and I think that's the other thing that people don't get. Well, this is 99% effective. So you realize on 10 million a day, that means this many still get through.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, how many do you have? 1 billion.
Billion. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Yep.
So I'm still looking at 1,000 of these things.
Yeah.
Yep. We're 99% good. Well, great. I need to get to the 99.9 guy now.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it doesn't exist yet. Why is that? And so we can go down machine learning theory all day long. But it's like, yeah, doing it with that level of precision at the scale that we have to deal with just because of the volume, it's next to impossible. So I'm actually happy when this stuff works roughly like they advertised.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting mellower as I age. I give them less of a hard time. It's like, yeah, I hear you. This is hard. Yeah. So they're going to try and use these tools. I think so. I don't think it's the experimenting I'm doing, the experimenting I'm seeing. Yeah, I don't think it's ready to fully replace anybody doing anything.
No.
But you know what? It sure does help. We are using stuff like that now everywhere. All of us have our own little recipes. So it's creeping in.
It is.
All right. Number 3, fewer organizations will make ransomware payments. I'm not sure about this.
I struggled with this as well.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, the data points that were provided by it, and you can see the decline in payments from 22 onwards. And I have heard of insurance providers who are no longer offering to pay, or at least pay a portion of the cybersecurity payback, or whatever the payout would be, if you did pay for the ransomware, right? So they're making it more difficult to cash in on the policies. But let's be honest, it has been that way for a decade now. Right? Cyber insurance premiums have gone up. The requisite number of forms you need to complete to actually qualify for a cybersecurity or cyber insurance is horrific. Been through enough of them. The demonstration of the controls, it's the equivalent of a SOC 2 audit now for almost every insurance company. So yeah, absolutely. An insurance organization is not there to pay out. But let's be honest, it's there to generate revenue and shareholder value. So if it can find opportunities to reduce payments to clients, if you were unfortunate enough to be breached and you paid a ransom, they're going to leverage that to see if they can stop payments. So I get it. But what do you think? Do you think that organizations are still going to pay if they don't have the controls in place, that they don't have the recovery, if they're not resilient in their approach? What do you think? You think they're still going to pay?
I think it's going to depend. Okay. On what it is, how much money they have, a lot of things. It's like it now just becomes another loss event. And the organizations that have made investments in resilience have, there's a few organizations I know out there like yourselves and Brigade and many others that are working with companies to help them understand themselves to like, let's pretend this happened. It hasn't yet, but we should sure start thinking about it in real terms. And what exactly would we do? You've been in the rooms sometimes when the realization that, darn, this would have worked.
Yeah.
Hey, can you give us 6 months and come back?
Yeah.
Because we got some work to do. I think the companies that have taken these tabletops and resilience analysis to heart and really done something, I think they still might get hit, but there's like, yeah, we kind of got prepared for that.
Yep.
And you know what? This isn't pleasant. We don't want to do this, but we've done this. And I'll shout out to my former brothers and sisters over at Suncor. They got hit with one of the largest cyber attacks to hit a major Canadian business ever, like one for the record books. And they not only recovered, they had a record year.
Yeah. They bounced back better, right? They bounced back better. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, yes, fewer organizations are going to make ransomware payments. I think this is where we got to be as professionals. Great. So the criminals already know this too, and they're already working on their next way to steal and hurt you.
Yeah. And that becomes a trick, right?
Don't get soft, right? Like,
yeah. And don't think that, the threat or a threat has been reduced.
Oh, we're good.
We're good. Ransomware's going down. We're good. Remember, you and I fought we saw cell fraud and then toll fraud and then other types of fraud in the 90s and the 2000s. So when that peaked, and we watched it because we fought it. So when that peaked and we went through all that, what came up next? Well, the first sets of malware and then DDoS and now it's ransomware. There will always be a new thing because, to your point, the cyber criminals on the other side have a business to operate as well. Their goal is to find another opportunity to generate a reliable stream of revenue.
So I'm going to make a prediction here.
All right, it's August, but all right, I'm in. Yep.
Crime will continue and criminals will evolve their techniques.
Yes, sir. I like that.
Okay.
That I can stand behind that one. I'm good with that.
That should hold.
Yeah, I'm good
but I'm
with
not putting a timeline on it.
Yeah.
All right. Passwordless authentication will become the norm.
I honestly don't know. Is it there now? Are we even close to there now?
Okay, so another true story.
Okay.
Went to Ottawa, my 1 week of summer vacation, went with the fair one. We went out to Ottawa. A friend of hers was getting married. And, as you do as a couple, you're walking around, like browsing around in bookstores and stuff. And we're at this kind of upper end stationery store, and they've got these cards and books and stuff like that. And I actually took a picture and sent it back to my team and like, this is why we can't have nice things. And it was not one, but two books, like a little pocket one that would fit in your purse, and then a slightly larger one that would sit on your desk. And it was a notebook for storing passwords and account numbers.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, it was lovely bound. It was beautiful. And you think about it, who's going to buy this? People that are less apt to do things digitally. They tend to be older. Guess what? Older people tend to have more money than younger people. They tend to live in nicer houses where people break in and steal stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're now vacationing somewhere. If I'm breaking into a house as a criminal or whatever, and I'm looking around for things to steal, I go through the jewelry box and I shouldn't know all this, but never mind. That's
I'm
another
a little
story.
worried. Yeah, I'm a little worried. Yeah.
And I look around and I see on a nice oak desk a book that says passwords and other accounts.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah.
I'm grabbing that, right? Because the younger criminal is definitely going to know there's probably something. They get back from their vacation and their bank account's drained.
Yep.
because they left it in clear text. So I think that, yes, some of these password authentication things are there. But when you see stuff like a book like that, I know why they did that, because there's a lot of people that are incredibly frustrated with trying to navigate digitally through all this authentication mess.
Yeah.
So putting it in a book totally feels right and normal to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to keep this book safe. Yeah, until you lose it, and
Yeah.
then you're screwed.
Yeah.
But seriously, you put a label on top of it that said, please steal me. So, yeah.
Wow. If I bought both password books, do I have to now sync them both when I'm working? Like, it's just, I just want to ask, right? Is the desktop one the primary, and I just bring the second one with me?
This is my mobile one.
Yeah, this is the mobile password management tool, and I sync it every night when I go home. No, but you know what? You bring up some really good points, because it is. Yeah, and I've watched my family members, like, you know, my in-laws, my mom, my brother, and others, as you know, everyone's getting older, and you're right, the frustration's there. They know that there's a world on the internet that they want to be part of, or they want to be part of social media, but then they have to have a password, and it's literally, is it the same password as everything else? Well, I can't tell you my password, so that's a yes. All right, fair enough. And I appreciate that there are a lot of workforces that are going towards this path. There is technology out there, but when will we get to a standardized approach to passwordless authentication? Because that's going to be the difference. You can create fancy UXs all you want, but if I can't have that consistent look and feel, and if I can't have that consistent approach, or it's not a separate experience to me to go from a platform to the next one to the next one. If I can get to that space, then I think this will have a greater chance of being successful. But right now, everyone, and you know this, everyone who's in this business wants to make their money too. If theirs is just a little different than the platform before, they may come to our platform instead.
Yeah.
Terrific. But what that does is now I'm creating the same virtual frustration as I have already in place, because the experience is different. Technology may be fantastic. It removes the ability or the requirement for you to memorize a password. But if that experience is different from platform to platform, the human being's not going to register it, or they're not going to accept it, or they're not going to follow through with it.
Yeah. And I've been evangelizing this for a long time. Identity is the new perimeter. And it always has been, right? Give me the code or I'm going to shoot you, is going back to the Roman times, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how you make an identity that works in the digital environment that your grandmother can operate.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous when your grandmother's sitting on 500 grand at her bank account.
Yeah, or you know, they've just moved their investments over to another bank or whatever. Yeah, it's frustrating, and it scares me with my family. It scares me because they are trying to be part of a digital society as well, and it's.
Well, we took the analog one away from them, so they have no choice.
Yeah, and you know, when my mom is talking about things like, you know, at 85 years old, I'm looking at getting, you know, like what you have, one of your smartphone things, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, no, just stick with the flip phone. It's because I want to go back to a flip phone, because I know some of the perils of having a computer in your hand.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of computers, this is the fifth and final prediction, and again, we're not cheering or debating or negating anything. Like, this is a legit prediction. The first undisputed casualty caused by a cyber attack in the next 3 years. And this is 2025. They're predicting it. So between now and 2028. And if you want a primer on this for anybody that wants, and we'll throw it in the show notes, it's a book by Bruce Schneier called Click Here to Kill Anyone.
Yep.
Or Click Here to Kill Everyone, I think it is.
Yep.
And I don't think it's as far-fetched as people make it out to be. I think attributing this to somebody evil went behind the keyboard and did something, that's going to be a little harder to prove. But I'm not so sure it hasn't happened already and we just haven't recognized it.
Yeah, or it hasn't been documented, right? Like that becomes a concern. We've got so many aspects of our life that are managed from a cyber perspective, whether it's your health records or prescriptions. I recently, had an operation, and all of my records were, brought in front of me on a tablet before I went in for the operation. And that's like, okay, terrific. then before the medication set in to go to sleep, I'm like, wait a second, is that pad secure? Like, just a second, right?
Yeah. Where is that iPad been before it got my medical records?
Yeah, and then I'm asleep, right? And I woke up, fair enough, right? And I get some of the catastrophic results as well. Like, don't get me wrong, when the centrifuges in Iran were targeted, yes, that was a purely nation state based attack. I see it if I was going to take out an electrical grid. Yes, absolutely. We can see that as well. Oil pipelines are the same. We all feared these things when we were in critical infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
But the question becomes, how would I understand that the deaths would be directly attributed to, like you mentioned, Doug, somebody pressing a key on a keyboard and knowing that was the end result of the action? I think that's going to be the hardest thing for us.
Yeah.
Is to accept that someone used a cyber, weapon to cause a human death. That's going to be hard when that's published, proven, and attributed. The examples that were given, for what we saw, the three or so that were given they were potentially disputed or potentially discussed, but it was a causal link was there. The issue then becomes is, what if I can actually show that no, as soon as Tim pressed that enter on the keyboard, he knew exactly what was going to happen to Doug on the other end of it. Right.
Yeah, and I think as we're designing systems going forward, we need to be asking ourselves, what about when this fails? What are the possible failure modes? And that's standard engineering practice that goes back forever. And most of that was learned by mistakes. And secretly, I'm jealous that I don't have a little iron ring around my pinky finger too. But then I think about it, you go, the reason that they put the ring there is because it makes noise when you put your hand down, and it's to remind you that you have an obligation to do things because it could impact life. It could impact a business operation and everything else. As security professionals, we're part of that equation. And if we're looking at a design, we need to be asking, how can this fail? Not because we're the Department of No, but because everybody else has been pressured just to ship it.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're giving the engineers the time that they need to do that work because it's expensive and there's a chance of this is actually a really bad idea. Well, we've already told the investors we're going to release this next month. So
yeah.
What can you do to make it safe? And you got a Band-Aid and then some kid figures out a way to send 5 characters down the wire and it bypasses the Band-Aid and suddenly you've got a security vuln. And it's like, no, you had a design for it.
Yeah.
And you stuck a Band-Aid on it and then somebody figured out how to take the Band-Aid off.
Isn't that frightening?
And you're acting like it's a thing. It's like, no, you screwed up way back there.
Yeah.
But how do you fund research and development when everybody's saying I need a quarterly return?
It's interesting, and you and I both know this, probably the most difficult but rewarding relationship that cybersecurity professionals can make is with the engineering teams in any company they work with.
Yes.
And you and I have had those, discussions and have created those relationships, and it took time to demonstrate that there was this level of acceptance for the work that we do and a detailed understanding of how we're going to help out that engineering group. And I think that's where, if we can establish stronger bonds and grow greater relationships, we get a chance to be an advocate for the work that they're doing. If the engineers are saying there's an issue and we agree with them, here's the path that we'd like to take to reduce the risk facing the company so that when you do release the product, even if it is a quarter late, we can at least reduce the risk of you being, literally bankrupt by lawsuits in the next 6 months or so. Wouldn't that be, isn't that an acceptable outcome of waiting to launch a product that isn't quite yet production ready?
It's going to be an interesting year, but I think my prediction will hold.
I think you're right. Yes, sir. I agree.
I don't have a lot on the other ones, so I think with that we'll wrap it up and see how the year ends.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to the latest podcast from Caffeinated Risk. Make sure you visit our website, caffeinatedrisk.com, to stay up to date on what we've been working on. Our website has bios of our podcast guests, posts about topics we're passionate about, and even a library of reference material we find valuable in the work we do every day. And don't forget to subscribe to Caffeinated Risk on your favorite podcast service. This way, you'll be notified when we release our next podcast, and you can listen to our previous guests just in case you missed them. Thanks so much for listening to Caffeinated Risk.